questions anybody has, but I have to be, understanding of your packed schedule on the agenda.
I would like for us to open the floor for questions, but after we've been seated. So.
Oh, I need to do that, don't I? Okay. Well, it is my honor as well as my pleasure to officially seat the Faculty Senate for the year 2021. Congratulations to all.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it. Colleagues, do we have questions for Regent Brown? Hearing none, Doug, thank you so much for your time and really appreciate your leadership and your trust in the faculty, and glad that you were able to come in and say those words for us this afternoon.
Well, it's great to work with you, Finney. We've been doing it for about 10, 12 years now, and look forward to much more of the same. Take care. I'm going to stick around for a little bit and enjoy your meeting, and then I'll have to depart. Thanks.
Very good. Colleagues, the next item on our agenda is introduction of our new operations committee. And I'm going to, I have already unshared, go over to share this document with you. You've seen the document before. And I want to highlight our new Academic Freedom and Tenure Committee. Jessica Goodkind, Deborah McFarland, Beth Davila, Kathy Key, David Hanson, Mary Quinn. That is a fine Academic Freedom and Tenure Committee. There are some other members who have terms that will expire next year: Amy Branzel, Amy Jackson, Jungwon Lee, Diane Parham, Michael Ryan, Carol Suzuki, and Judith White. We're in good hands this year with our colleagues in Academic Freedom and Tenure. Hopefully, if you haven't done so already, please reach out to them and congratulate them on being selected, and thank them, please, for continuing to serve. We have our Committee on Governance. Matthias Fontenla, Sharon Ruyak. Myra Washington has stepped down from COG, and I believe that we have a replacement, but I don't want to speak out of turn here. Rick, can you update us there?
Yes, it is Manel Martinez Ramon that is the new COG member.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then Sebra Bordino is going to continue as chair, and Thomas Chavez. At large, Nancy, actually, is Nancy going to do that? Rick?
No, she is not. I'll give you the at-large 1 second.
Okay. Nancy, for those of you who don't know, very proud of Nancy Lopez, who was on operations last year. She was elected to COG for this year. She's accepted a position as the associate vice president for diversity, equity, and inclusion. So very, very happy and proud for her for being selected for that position.
Heather Sweetser is the new at-large member.
Okay. And Christos? Is he also one
Christos? No.
Okay. And for Operations Committee this year, I'll be serving as president this year, and I'll be joined by Cash Clifton. Irene Vasquez comes back for another term. B, I always mess B's last name up. Rebecca Blankley and Ann Waldorf um, will serve, and Rebecca is also doing a second term. So far, we've worked very hard over the summer, and I'm very thankful to my colleagues, very thoughtful, very smart group of people that I'm privileged to be working with this year on the operations committee. And we have a full agenda, a full slate of things to get done this year, and look forward to working with this body on the agendas for the Faculty Senate. Colleagues, I don't know if we can, if I can have you, if you don't mind, just unmute and say hello, my colleagues on Operations Committee. I know that we at least one of our colleagues wasn't able to make it this afternoon. They had another commitment that they couldn't get out of. So if we could start with Rebecca, are you there?
I'm here. I just got here. Sorry for the late arrival. I had a Zoom update, which was very unusual. Rebecca Blankley, one of the things I really want to promote on campus, if I may, is mental health resources. And now we all have a one-stop shop for that. If everybody doesn't know, mentalhealth.unm.edu. Tell your students, because it's really worthwhile. And the second thing is I want to promote is some get-togethers. So hopefully some point during the semester, we're going to be able to meet again at some location, maybe a bar, maybe a park, and maybe if Faculty Senate members could meet each other, that would be an awesome thing.
Thank you, Rebecca. B, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Hello, everybody. My name is Biton Trasi from LLSS, first year Ops Committee. Happy to serve.
Thank you, B.
Well, wait, B should tell us how to say his last name.
He did. He did.
Oh, I didn't hear it. What was it, B?
It's Temtaratsi.
Ah, got it.
Irene?
Buenas tardes, colegas. Thank you for electing me for a second term on Ops. I'm happy to serve with you all.
Okay. And Cash?
Hi, I'm Cash Clifton. I teach in University College. I'm a lecturer for academic foundations, and I'm excited to be on Ops.
Thank you, Cash. And I'm very happy to again to be working with all of our colleagues on Ops, and I'm fortunate to have a relationship with all of them for one reason or another. And since Cash was the last one, during one of the things that I do when in my teaching is I ask my students for a student information sheet, and one of the optional questions on there is to talk about an instructor that they've had here at UNM that's inspired them, and then whatever they say, I try to steal that. And I kept on several different classes, and then across semesters, Cash Clifton's name would come up, and I was like, I've got to meet this guy, Cash Clifton. So very happy to be working with people who are committed to teaching, committed to research, and committed to service on our campus. So thank you. I'm looking forward to working with this group over the course of the academic year. The next item on our agenda is approval of the April 28th, 2020 summarized minutes. Are there any corrections? Are there any changes? There are none. The minutes are approved. So colleagues, I have the next item on our agenda, which is item number 5, the Faculty Senate President's Report. And there are a number of things on here. I'll go through them as quickly as I can. I'm going to defer on the COVID-19 update to Provost Holloway, who follow me, and I will try to I'll come back to that if we need to after his report. The university secretary search should wrap up soon. The provost is considering finalists for that position, and we are hoping that he'll have an announcement for us, hopefully by the end of this week. I sat on that committee. I can tell you it was some really good candidates where whoever emerges as our university secretary, I think is going to serve us well. We have 4 really good candidates who applied for that position, interviewed for that position, and the provost, I believe, is completing his vetting and will announce sometime soon. Over the summer and in the spring, we built and worked on building connections between faculty governance leaders across not just the state of New Mexico, but also across the Mountain West Conference. I've had a number of meetings with our colleagues from the Air Force Academy, the Colorado schools, the schools out in California, schools in Nevada, Wyoming, and interestingly enough, in the spring, it's just interesting way information flows. And had a conversation with Boise State leadership about their continuing operations plan, continuity of operations plan. And much of their plan at Boise State wound up in CNM's plan. CNM liked what Boise State was doing and picked up some of those things, at least their faculty governance that had some really fascinating conversations with our colleagues down in Las Cruces, over in Portales, just different, really good exchanges. And at some point, we'd like, if once we get past this COVID epidemic, UNM will probably serve as the home site for a conference where we'll bring together faculty governance leaders from around the state to have conversations about issues that we all think are priorities, and to also think about how we can leverage our voice as faculty governance leaders to help shape the agenda for our state and for higher education, more broadly speaking. IPRA and OMA. As much as I would like to share that we have made progress in where we stand with IPRA and OMA, we still don't have as definitive an answer as I would like. I've met with the provost, I met with university council. My concern has been about Open Meetings Act requirements, less so than IPRA requirements, where when we're discussing sensitive matters that aren't necessarily personnel matters within our department meetings and the like, what of that information is subject to Open Meetings Act? There's some discussion about whether or not all of our meetings on campus, certainly faculty governance meetings, would be subject to OMA. As I get more information on that, I'll be sure to share with you. As it sits right now, we're following the guidance from the Attorney General. We will conduct our business in accordance, all of our Faculty Senate business in accordance with OMA, even if technically we may not be subject to all the provisions of OMA. But we will continue to publish our agenda with the 72-hour notice, and we'll continue to make sure that our colleagues have access to meetings like this one. We will continue with our online meetings throughout the fall and probably well into the spring semester, but I do look forward to the moment when we can all come together again as a group. But IPRA and OMA, that still is an outstanding issue. It was on the agenda last spring. It will remain on the agenda until we get definitive information to share with our colleagues. The next item is branch campus ad hoc committees. We're going to establish 3 different ad hoc committees, at least from my perspective this year. One to kind of look at Regents policy, look at the faculty handbook, Big Red, and to see where we have places where we have overlap, places that we need to have more alignment. That task force will probably work on that when we get past getting our students back on campus and getting everybody back to campus safely. The Branch Campus Ad Hoc Committee is one that I'm really excited about. It is we're going to try to do a better job. That will be our special emphasis this year, doing a better job of connecting with our colleagues on the branch campuses. We've made some strides in the past year, but there's a lot that needs to be done. You know, we have some issues about teaching load and connectivity, a lot of things that we'll want that ad hoc committee to look at: low cost, no cost, medium level cost, long-term investments into our branch campus colleagues. I believe, I hope I'm not speaking too much out of turn. John, you can chime in if I am. You know, at Gallup, I'll be meeting with their faculty governance leaders, faculty there, to talk about tenure and promotion, and hopefully get a chance to have a conversation with all of our branch campus leaders about that subject and others. We're going to try to put on the books a branch campus leaders meeting that's a regular meeting as well. I'll not have anything to say just now about the continuation of operations plan. I'll let Provost Holloway do that. I'll stand for any questions that anyone has at this point about the Faculty Senate President's report. Hearing no questions, we'll move on to item number 6, the Provost report. Provost Holloway, are you with us?
I am. Okay, so thank you, Finney. I appreciate the chance to talk to the group. Rick, is it possible for me to share my screen? If not, it's not a problem, but I have slides I could show, or I'll talk from them.
Yes, 1 second. Okay, you're good to share screen.
Provost, before you go, there's one thing that I failed to mention during during my report. Can I have just 1 minute for that, please?
Of course.
So colleagues, we sent out, and Rick, correct me if I'm wrong on this. Dr. Nancy Lopez wanted us to share some information on the census. I believe that information has gone out. The state of New Mexico is behind, significantly behind on where it should be at this point with the census. And we want to make sure that all of our colleagues in our academic units are aware of, you know, what's going on with the census. So that information should have come along with the slides and other things that Rick may have sent. And Rick, did we send something out, or is that going out later?
It will go out later. I'll bundle everything from the meeting and send it to the Senate.
Okay, colleagues. So look for a message from the University Secretary's office with additional information on the census. If Nancy were here, and she may be. Nancy, are you here?
I am here.
Nancy, can you say a few words about where we are with that, please?
Absolutely. So just as Finney mentioned, we're behind. We're 10 points behind the national average. We're at 54% response rate compared to 64% for the rest of the country. And we're asking faculty as trusted messengers to encourage their students to mobilize 5 to 10 people to fill out the census, friends, their networks. There is an opportunity for phone banking, and we really need a massive grassroots movement. We know that this has lost resources for education, political representation, and civil rights for the next decade. If students live in UNM housing, in the spring, they were counted, but if over 80% of our students don't live on campus, so we absolutely need them to fill out their census. Remind them there is no citizenship question and that the data are confidential. And again, there's a postcard that I think Rick will make available through the listserv. For more information, you can visit the website for the Institute for the Study of Race and Social Justice, race.unm.edu, or my2020census.gov to actually fill out the census. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Nancy.
Nancy, can I ask you a question on that? What's the deadline?
The deadline is September 30th. So the urgent issue is that the deadline was truncated. It was originally Halloween, but the current administration decided to cut it by a month, which makes our efforts for a full count even more urgent because we only have about 5 more weeks.
Thank you. Finney, you need to stop sharing for me to share. Thank you. Okay, hopefully everyone sees a giant PowerPoint. Thank you all for taking the time to hear from me today. I wanted to comment also to support Finney's special emphasis on the branch campuses. That's been an initiative that I think is very important to UNM. That we've really been trying to do over the last year or so, is really develop that relationship and to recognize the important work that the branch campuses do, and to really inject the branch campuses into our consciousness. It's pretty frequent at UNM that we write various documents, create various policies, address various issues without really thinking about the branch campuses and the special work that they do. So thank you, Finney, for doing that. Finney asked me to be relatively brief, but I'll touch on several of the issues that he mentioned, as well as some of the issues that Regent Brown mentioned. So let me start with COVID, just to say a little bit about where things are, and so folks know some of these things. Of course, we've been in term's been going on now for about a week. During that first week of term, we had 4 students test positive for COVID, 1 employee test positive. That's outside the health system, outside of HSC, but including the branch campuses. That was a pretty good number. That's less than we might have expected. But as Regent Brown suggested, we are by no means done, and we have a ways to go. Just some important updates. So we have a group of 5 contact tracers, one of whom is designated an investigator, who are under the supervision of the New Mexico Department of Health. And so UNM hired them, but really put them under the charge of the Department of Health. That's how the Department of Health wanted this organized. But we do have a dedicated contact tracing resource for UNM. Really those contact tracers will be activated by the Department of Health when there are UNM staff, students, faculty who test positive and whose contacts need to be traced. And the rest of the time they will contribute to the contact tracing capacity of the state. We have a group now that meets daily called the Interventional Response Task Force. This is a group that is fired up to follow up on positive cases identified within the UNM population. And so it's, I think, just helpful to know that that group is there and meeting regularly. They consist of folks from HSC, epidemiologists, infectious disease doctors, as well as the UNM COVID coordinator and a member from the provost office as well. We've started target interventional testing. That's happening on parking lot C. That site is live. I was over there today, and I think they have 7 students who they are testing today. This is by appointment only at this point, and what's happening is that students are triaged by SHAC or potentially by the response task force, and have appointments set up at that testing site. And so these are typically symptomatic students, students with potential exposures, And again, the numbers at this point are relatively small. Tricor, the state's largest medical testing lab, which UNM partially owns, is doing the final analysis on most of those. We have a capacity at that site actually for 200 tests per day. The expected capacity is potentially more like 50. And there's a potential, the capacity to surge actually to a couple of thousand over short periods of time as well. And so, but again, we're at the moment, really it's handfuls rather than any numbers like those. In addition, SHAC is procuring point of care testing systems so that they can do tests of students at SHAC. And depending on their symptomology and state of health, so that they can, for the purpose of treatment, have their own testing as well. One point to note that we have to keep in mind is that testing is actually rationed nationally. And so testing reagents are rationed by the White House. This is part of the Mike Pence COVID task force. And so we don't have complete control over numbers that we can test. The state of New Mexico is currently testing 6,000 to 7,000 people a day, which is above the state of New Mexico target. But we have seen, for example, about 2 weeks ago, the state's supplies were reduced, not below the target number, but they were reduced because supplies were sent to other states. We announced to students on Friday some information about work and study spaces. Students were looking for work and study spaces because we have so many buildings on main campus that are closed, and an HSC as well. And really what we're doing is we're trying at this point, we really want to go slow. We are not trying to rapidly reopen lots of spaces. We're keeping the numbers of students and staff and faculty on campus low. But we do want students to know that there are study and work spaces for them and that they're open at hours that they need. And so we regularized the hours for Dane Smith till 9 p.m. We extended the shack until 5 p.m. as of last Friday. We've also set up some outside spaces for students to work. And so you'll see a tent, for example, out on Smith Plaza. All of that is intentional. We have other large spaces we could in principle open, but we're not in a rush to try and get these spaces open. We really want to see how it goes, see that mask wearing is appropriate, see that the numbers of students and staff and faculty on campus are manageable. And so we are being very deliberate about opening up spaces. There's also a UNM dashboard site that will go public soon. It's in beta now. And so a few of us have seen it, but it will be a public site where folks can know what's going on in terms of numbers of cases identified in any given week and so on. And so look for information about that. Thinking about how many students are on campus, if we look at the pie graph on the right side of this first, we have on main campus, 4% of our classes are face-to-face, that is fully face-to-face. 21% are some what we call face-to-face plus, meaning remote plus some face-to-face. And so that total of 25%, that's been reduced even from where it was a few weeks ago, again, very purposefully trying to reduce numbers of students. There's a table here on the left-hand side. It says peak students in class in Albuquerque. This is our peak time for occupancy of classrooms. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays, no surprise. And so at noon, really on Tuesday, is the peak number of students registered in a face-to-face class of any kind, 916. The branch campuses have similar kinds of numbers of face-to-face classes. And so overall, 4 branch campuses, there's 2% of class sections that are face-to-face and 16% that have some kind of, that is 2% totally face-to-face, 16% that have some kind of face-to-face meeting. And so again, you know, the goal here is there are reasons to do classes face-to-face. It's hard to learn to do ceramics or play the oboe or do a chemistry lab or learn nursing practice if you can't do some face-to-face instruction. But we are very much trying to limit it and manage the numbers in order to limit community spread on campus. Okay, so switching a little bit to some numbers that Regent Brown talked about, and he was literally quoting these numbers, which are this morning's data. He mentioned a 9% new beginning freshman. You'll see that here on the table on the top left. It's 8.8% new beginning freshmen compared to this time in the term last year. And that number seems pretty stable at this point. We don't consider any of these numbers really done until census. And frankly, this term, I would be cautious even about calling them done at census. Census will be in September, second week of September, second week of September, something like that. He mentioned new graduate students, 16% increase there, so that's another good sign. Overall down about 2.5%. That's head count. Equally important numbers in the table in the lower left, which is student credit hours, and this is the Albuquerque campus, meaning all units in Albuquerque, down about 4%. And so even though the head count's only down 2.5%, student credit hours are down more than that by about 4%. And that number has been softening, and so meaning that we're down more today than we were yesterday, and that's been a trend. That's not unexpected. It's not unusual or unheard of for students to sign up for a bunch of classes and then drop a few early in the term. And so we'll see that number down 4% go down a bit further, but probably not by huge amounts. For those who want to delve into it, the table on the right shows student credit hours for Albuquerque schools and colleges. And you'll see they range everything from University College, which is up by a large amount. That's really because of those new incoming freshmen, many of whom are in the foundational math class or the critical text analysis class within University College. So there's been a significant number of extra students there, and we've provided some additional funding to University College, in fact, to try and manage that. There's some other positive notes here too. Architecture and planning up over 4.5%. You'll see a number of the School of Medicine that says down 22%. That's a bit of a fluke. Students who might have taken clinicals during the summer have been resequenced into clinicals next summer. And so there's a sort of a short-term fluctuation or transition here simply because of resequencing some students' programs due to COVID. And so I won't dwell on these numbers any further, but for those who want to see them, we can send this document out. And again, we're doing these numbers daily. They change daily, and really it's census when we have the numbers we consider most significant and sort of firm around which to draw conclusions. Related to enrollment is budget. And so let me say a little bit about budget. As you know, we were reducing the university's budget anyway. We planned in about $6.8 million of revenue reductions pre-COVID, and this is just for academic affairs on main campus. And so the schools and colleges whose deans report to the provost, if you will, doesn't include the HSC schools or the branches. As a result of COVID and the reductions in state allocations that came from that, we've taken another $15 million in revenue reductions from that loss of state revenue. And this is all relative to fiscal 20, and so relative to last year's budget. We had planned for this budget that was about $6 million less in revenues. Now we have to take this additional 15. That's about a 7% reduction, basically, that we had to take in June and July that we had not, of course, anticipated. That reduction has been distributed across schools and colleges. In total, the schools and colleges take about 7% of that reduction in revenue. And the central academic unit's about 7.34% reduction in revenue. The central academic units constitute about 25% of the revenue, the ING revenue we're talking about. Over the last 5 years, they've taken about 37% of the reductions. So we're continuing that practice of reducing the central academic units a bit more than the schools and colleges themselves. I do want to emphasize we're talking here only about ING revenues, not total budgets of units. And so, for example, the College of Arts and Sciences has a little over 80 million in ING revenues. This is state money and tuition money. And at the same time, they have something on the order of, if I remember correctly, about 40 million of other kinds of external funds and revenues, RPSP funds, a different kind of state funds, research funds, gift funds, and so on. And so we're talking here not about the total budgets of units, but the ING revenues that units have. One of the things that we're going to do in response to a great suggestion from the Faculty Senate Budget Committee is to launch a main campus budget site. And so if you go to the university's budget site, you can find information about kind of the very top levels of the university, but it doesn't dig down into what's happening at the schools and colleges. And so we're going to put together, either off of the provost website or off of the university budget website, a place where faculty can go and see, faculty, staff, students can go and see the revenues of the schools and colleges and other academic units. And you were working on the details of that now. I really don't want to just show ING revenues because there's so many other kinds of revenues. And then we can also look at projected expenses so that folks can get a better sense of where the money comes from and where the money goes. We are unfortunately waiting on the next legislative session. We've already been told to expect a 5% additional cut and to expect both a cut for the current year. So to be, that is that we will be given a mid-year rescission and to then expect a cut for fiscal 22 that's about this 5%. And so we know we're not done. What that will look like is not entirely clear, but it's one reason we have to be a little bit conservative over what we do over the next few months, because we do know that additional cuts and significant cuts from state revenues are coming. Just some other updates then. I'm really excited that we reached some great agreements with United Academics of UNM on COVID-related matters. These have been posted on both, these agreements have been posted on both the United Academics website and the Provost Faculty Unionization website. So you can go and see what these agreements are. There are a couple on COVID-related matters for the 2 bargaining units. There's also one on a voluntary retirement incentive program, which has been rolled out, by the way, for both faculty and staff. Some of you will have received communications of that about that, perhaps. But what's exciting to me is that we've worked with UNM on some substantive issues here and reached agreements. and reaching those first agreements is always a good sign in the development of a collective bargaining agreement. So I'm really pleased with all the great work that the bargaining teams on both sides have undertaken to get us there. Most folks here already know that we extended the 10-year probationary period for junior faculty who were junior members of our faculty last April. And what we've just done as well is given that same probationary extension to faculty who just joined us. And so faculty whose contracts with us started August 10th, they had the same disruptions this fall that everyone else did. And so we wanted to make it clear that their probationary period could be extended as well. So it's an automatic extension and they can choose to opt out. We also announced that we would not require the use of student evaluations of teaching in an evaluative way this term, similar to what we did last term, owing to the disruption of teaching online and so on. I think many faculty are going to actually do an excellent job with remote instruction. They did last spring. I'm sure they will this fall as well. But there's so many different pressures on faculty right now to teach within these new modalities, to manage, for those who have kids at home, to manage their own kids' education in whole new ways, to deal with the anxieties caused by this disease, to do work from home, any extra burdens we can remove are probably worth it. We've named Diane Marshall as the interim dean of the Honors College. Really excited about that. Many of you know Diane. She'll continue both as associate dean in arts and sciences and as interim dean of honors. Diane knows the Honors College really well. She's worked on the APR for the Honors College. She's really interested in the ways that honors can more closely tie with teaching in the rest of the university, and there's no one better place to help develop those connections. I've mentioned this to this group before. A search for the BPR is ongoing, and the candidates to come to campus haven't been selected yet, but should be in the next month or so and be on campus in October. We're going to form a committee to define the path to develop a Department of Africana Studies. And so Mark Peasney, Dean of Arts and Sciences, has been a terrific partner in that, as has Charles Becknell, the current director of the program in Africana Studies. And so we're putting the finishing touches on a charge for that committee, and we'll start developing a membership of that fairly soon as well. Many of you know Rick Clement left as Dean of Libraries, and Fran Wilkinson is ably serving in the interim role, but we'll launch a search for the Dean of Libraries this fall as well. And lest we forget, we had started a multi-year planning process for UNM 2040, and as time and our own capacity allows, we'll try and get that process going again. So I'll stop there, and happy to take any questions at Finney's pleasure.
If we have any questions for the provost, please go ahead and unmute your video and audio. Okay, hearing no questions. Thank you, Provost Holloway.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is an action item, consent agenda, and I'll have Rick. I think you've already shared them, Paul, so if we could have Rick go ahead and pop those up. And colleagues, if you could go ahead, at least for this section of the meeting, go ahead and unmute your video if at all possible. Thank you. All right, we'll have a roll call vote on our consent agenda. Rick, can you please post December 2020 degree candidates? well as the 2020, 2021 Faculty Senate Committee appointments and membership approval.
Yes, they are both rather large, so give me just a second.
Okay. While Rick is getting that pulled together, do we have Professor Guinnessar with us?
Gabarter? Are you saying that might be my last name?
Uh-huh. Okay, great.
Cindy Gabarter? Yes, I'm here.
Okay, here are the degree candidates. It's quite long. I can email it to anyone who wants to see it. And this is for the summer term.
Rick, how do these numbers stack up with previous summers? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I don't. We used to request that from the registrar. I can start requesting it again.
Okay. And then if you could please put up the Faculty Senate Committee appointments.
Can you see this? The committee list? Okay.
And this is available on the University Secretary's webpage.
It's also part of the agenda packet from the site. You can download it yourself if you want to.
Okay.
But I'd be happy to email it to anyone who asks.
Okay. And we'll need to, there's some updates that need to go on there. I've seen some ex officio stuff
Yes.
that has, some of you may know that we lost Melissa Vargas, a huge loss for our institution. Just a terrible loss, but we need to clean that up, Rick.
Okay.
Colleagues, the item on the floor is our consent agenda. Conduct a roll call vote. As Rick calls your name, will you signal your consent by saying aye? Rick, please call the roll.
Alexa? Alexa? Alan?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Anil? Barbara?
Aye.
B? Brandy?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Bruku?
Aye.
Caleb?
Aye.
Carla?
Aye.
Cash?
Aye.
Christos? Cindy?
Aye.
Constantine?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
Evan,
Aye.
Ezra,
Aye.
Heather Sweetser,
Aye.
Holly,
Aye.
Irene, Jacob. Thank you.
Aye.
James,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Jennifer Celine,
Aye.
Jerome,
Aye.
John Burke,
Aye.
John Russell,
Aye.
Corolla,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Kristen,
Aye.
Kuhn, Larissa, thank you. Larissa,
Aye.
Laura,
Aye.
Loretta,
Aye.
Marina,
Aye.
Mark, Martin,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
Mohammed, Nadja,
Aye.
Natalia,
Aye.
Osborne,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Victoria,
Aye.
and Vladimir.
Aye.
Did I miss anyone?
Seem to have got somewhere along there.
Yeah. Yeah, you forgot Stephanie and I.
And Paul,
Rebecca Blankley, aye.
I think you missed a page.
Cassiano, I say aye.
And this is Caroline Scruggs. I'm replacing Nora Wendell for the School of Architecture and Planning, and I say aye as well.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
McConville, aye.
Oh, who was that last person?
Jason McConville.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Finney, it passes unanimously.
Is there anyone else that we might have missed who's on the call that we should have called? Okay, that's everyone. All right, so our consent agenda has passed. Our next item is our new general education core course, and the department chair, I messed the name up before, is with us, I believe. Rick, do you have a document as well that we're reviewing?
Yes, I'm trying to put it up. It's stuck on the other list.
Yeah. Is it the C2702?
Yes.
Uh,
Or 2XXX.
yeah. If you'll, I can share it.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. Great. Dr. Gunosar?
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I mispronouncing your name.
No, you actually pronounce it perfectly.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. So I actually stepped down. I was the interim chair while Dr. David Weiss was on sabbatical. This is a class that I have proposed following a request both from students and from the college. We identified a need in students wanting to take a lower level gen ed class in health communication. And the proposed class will focus on in a personal setting. So mostly patient-provider communication, communication within the family about health communication with social networks. And we're hoping that it will attract students from all across campus. Those are interested in health careers, but others that just would like that as a general education. We do have an advanced health communication class, but this will fulfill the need to have a more introductory level one.
Very good. And colleagues, this Form C has passed through successfully through our curriculum committee. I'd entertain a motion from the floor to pass this.
Motion.
So moved.
All right, it's been motioned that we vote on the degree program change Form C, form number C2702. Do I have a second?
I second.
It's been motioned and seconded that we vote on the degree program change Form C, form number C2702. Colleagues will have a roll call vote. Please signify your approval with aye, your disapproval with nay. And again, please unmute your videos so that you can pop up as we take the vote. Rick, please call the roll.
Alexa,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Anil,
Aye.
Barbara,
Aye.
B, Brandy,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Burku,
Aye.
Caleb,
Aye.
Carla,
Aye.
Cash,
Aye.
Cassiano,
Sorry. Aye.
Christos,
Aye.
Cindy,
Aye.
Constantine,
Aye.
Dennis,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
Evan,
Aye.
Ezra,
Aye.
Gregory, Heather Jarrell, Heather Sweetser,
Aye.
Holly,
Aye. Aye.
Irene,
Aye.
Jacob,
Aye.
James,
Aye.
Jason,
Aye.
Jennifer Jernigan,
Aye.
Jennifer Salim,
Aye.
Jerome,
Aye.
John Burke,
Aye.
John Russell,
Aye.
Corolla,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Kristen,
Aye.
Kuhn,
Aye.
Larissa,
Aye.
Laura,
Aye.
Loretta,
Aye.
Marina,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Martin,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
Mohammed, Nadja,
Aye.
Natalia,
Aye.
Osborne,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Rebecca,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Victoria,
Aye.
Vladimir.
Aye.
Okay, did I miss anyone?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Laws. I'm Scott England's alternate from the School of Law,
Okay,
and I vote aye.
okay. Anyone else?
This is Caroline Scruggs from the School of Architecture and Planning, and I also vote aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Finney, it passes unanimously.
Thank you. Dr. Unisar, thank you so much for visiting with us today and sharing information about this, and for the hard work pulling this together for our students, and appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the support. Thanks.
The next item on our agenda, colleagues, are several discussion items. And some of you will remember that policy CO7, we discussed this. It's actually been on the docket for a long time. And I made the mistake of failing to get that document on our agenda in January of last year. So it's my fault that we're behind on this. But it's such an important policy. We want to make sure that we get this one right. It's out for a 30-day comment right now. I encourage all of us to have a look at the document. The idea is once policy committee has had a chance to review that document, then we will put it back in front of the faculty senate for a vote on whether and how to move that. I shouldn't say how, but to move it out of section C of the faculty handbook and into section B, which is academic freedom and tenure. I'd also encourage us all to have a look at D175 and D176. There have been some, those policies have been updated as well. So please have a look at the policies that are out for review, and weigh in on any changes that you think might need to take place in CO7. I want to commend the Section B task force, who's worked really, really hard to pull, to help and shape that document, get it ready for our review. And, Carol Stevens, just want to thank her for all of her hard work, not just on CO7, but on all of the different policies that have been that we've been working on for the coming year, and the ones that we're going to work on as we go into the fall semester. The next item on our agenda is a discussion of Title IX. I ask unanimous consent to recognize Dr. Steve Bishop. Steve, are you with us?
Yes.
Steve, can you give us an update, please, on Title IX?
Well, okay, I can give an update to a certain degree, but I think there's someone else who's present who I would ask that some senator recognize as well once I stop talking, and that's Angela Katina, who is the Title IX coordinator at UNM. But the basic piece of information is that the federal government changed the guidelines for Title IX starting August 15th. OEO was given basically 100 days notice to make all these changes. There's quite a lot. They're very, very difficult. So one thing I would just ask everyone to do, which, whether you like OEO, don't like OEO, don't know what OEO is, I would strongly encourage you to nonetheless be recognizant of the very hard work they've had to do. There's been a lot of changes to the hearing procedures, especially. These changes are going to make it much, much more difficult for survivors to move forward with complaints. And those types of students, although this can affect faculty and staff as well, my primary concern is students, and those students are going to need a lot of support going forward, a lot more than they maybe did even in the past. I'd just like to make a little advertisement. There's a group called Faculty Safe on campus. We actually have a website. If you just look up Faculty Safe, the acronym is Sexual Assault Free Environment. UNM, you'll find our website. If anyone wants to get involved in working on these types of issues from the faculty viewpoint, how we can help out the students, how we can help out OEO, I would strongly encourage you to do that, to get in contact with us. And again, like I said when I started talking, I don't know if there's anyone who wants to recognize Angela to speak, because really she's the person who as the Title IX coordinator, has more detailed information than I do.
Colleagues, with ask unanimous consent to recognize Angela.
I recognize Angela.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for allowing me the opportunity to be here. Thank you, Dr. Bishop, for and Dr. Hutchinson for letting me know that this is happening so that I could also provide additional information. So the Department of Education published its changes on May 6th and gave institutions or recipients of federal funding 100 days to comply with the new regulations. In there, they made huge changes. This is historical for Title IX, the biggest changes they've had since its inception. I'm going to go through just a few of them here, some of the bigger pieces, and please, if anyone would like to have follow-up conversations or any questions for clarification, I absolutely welcome all of them. So for Title IX, the Department of Education significantly limited what institutions can do or how institutions can hold people responsible for sexual misconduct, at least under Title IX. They changed the definition of sexual harassment. So now Title IX and another civil rights law are at odds with each other for that. And it makes it much more challenging, as Dr. Bishop said, for us to be able to not only address these concerns, but also for victims and survivors to come forward. The new definition of sexual harassment, and they only changed one word, was unwelcome conduct of a sexual nature that is so severe, pervasive, and objectively offensive. The previous definition was severe, pervasive, or objectively offensive. And so now it has to meet all three of those criteria for it to fall under that definition. So there's going to be a lot of behavior that OEO has historically been able to address that now we won't be able to under Title IX. So we've been working quite a bit behind the scenes to ensure that we can still address all of the same problematic behaviors. We just needed to find new ways to do that. One of them was expanding the student code of conduct, which is also now why D175 and D176 had to change. We updated policies 3215, 2720, and 2740, and D175 and D176 in under 100 days. So I'm sure all of you here can appreciate the work that had to go into that. The other major piece is OEO used to operate under a single investigator model. We would do the investigation and the analysis and come out with a determination. That is now not allowed under Title IX. So we had to hire a hearing officer and a hearing coordinator. Essentially during these very challenging times and financially troubling times, we had to create a new office, so to speak. So we are hiring a hearing officer to be able to hear all of these cases and a hearing coordinator to assist with those administrative functions. Please God, let it change. I am with you. So all of the investigations will now go to a live hearing with cross-examination. The Department of Ed has turned this into a quasi-judicial system. We now know that reporting is likely going to go down. We've had a few reports come in already, and as soon as the victims heard the live hearing piece, they said, no, thank you, I don't want anything to do with this anymore. The one piece where I do appreciate the Department of Ed including is if we get a report now from a responsible employee, whomever it may be, we do not automatically move forward until or unless the victim says, yes, I want you to. They have to file a formal complaint because then they know it will have to go to a live hearing. Because we believe that people will not want to go to a live hearing, the place that really is going to matter most in terms of supporting our community is supportive measures. Those are interim measures we have done before, so really any ways in which we can still support our students so that they can continue to have access to their education, or faculty and staff in ways that we'll be able to support when we need to do, some type of interim measures and accommodations. Those are really going to be the places that matter most now, because we know people won't want to engage in the hearing process. And I just threw a lot out there. And so I'll also, invite Dr. Hutchinson or Bishop if I'm allowed to do that. I'm not really sure. I apologize. Or anyone who has any additional information or questions.
Liz, are you there?
Hello.
Do you seek to be recognized at all?
No, I think they've about covered it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Liz. Colleagues, do we have questions for our colleagues about Title IX? I do have one question. It's less rhetorical than it might sound. What's the motivation, do you think, behind these changes? Ms. Gathini.
Let's see how diplomatic I can be with this answer.
You know what? Angela has to be diplomatic. I think I don't have to be as diplomatic.
Thank you.
So a way of shutting down these types of complaints. I mean, the official rationale is that it gives greater protections to those who are accused. And to a certain degree, that's true. But I know a lot of people think that they go much, much too far, and that it's simply a way of sweeping this problem under the rug rather than fixing the problem. The problem being things like sexual assault and harassment.
One thing I would add to that, or two pieces, what the Department of Education has said was their motivation was to bolster due process. But really, if you take a step back and look at Title IX, it has really just been a political tennis match, going from one extreme to the other. And so when this current administration came in, they immediately said that they were going to withdraw quite a bit of the work that the previous administration had done. So right now it's an extreme pendulum swing from one side to the other, because it's a political hot potato.
Do we have any recourse within our own governance structures, our own policies at the institution to strengthen our efforts to protect our students?
To some degree we do, and that was quite a bit of what we worked on over the summer in terms of expanding the student code of conduct. All of the behaviors that fall under Title IX for staff and faculty are also applicable under Title VII. So those protections will still be there. So what we had to do was get creative with non-Title IX policies and pull folks together during the summer so that we could convince them to up their policies or to expand them.
And I imagine for all of us to be more vigilant and supportive when we find ourselves in positions where we're advising or have a student who has a Title IX issue.
Absolutely.
Okay.
One thing go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, finish your thought.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is your office able to provide an information packet, something that we can pass along to our faculty senators and ask our faculty senators to then share? I know we're duplicating efforts, being redundant, but I think we need that in this case, that we can send out to all of our senators that they can share with their constituents.
We would be more than happy to do that. And Dr. Hutchinson has the disclosure document in the chat. We would be more than happy to provide something, especially with the updated process. The one thing I do want you all to know, if you do have a student who discloses or someone that you know does have a report that comes to OEO, our initial outreach and our main priority is to ensure that they're connected with the resources. And so it's also a voluntary process. They do not have to respond to us if they don't want to, but just to also let them know that we're here to be able to connect them with resources as well.
Steve?
Yeah, I would just reiterate, well, one thing Angela hinted at that I want to emphasize is that, OEO is working on this. OEO is making, is tweaking their policies to, to follow the law, of course, but to at the same time try to maintain, you know, the ease of making a complaint to the best degree possible. But there's also groups like the, you know, the Women's Resource Center or Faculty Safe, as I mentioned earlier, or Logo Respect, who are all working on ways to support people, especially students. So, you know, definitely encourage students to, you know, seek out help at one of those locations. And again, certainly reach out to Faculty Safe if you want to get more ideas or if you want to help generate ideas.
And Steve, if you wouldn't mind also, along with the other materials that we're going to receive, if you could let us know what that link is to the work that you're doing, that would be appreciated too.
Okay, so the link that Liz put up in the chat, the Faculty Safe link, that is a link that it serves a couple purposes. One, it talks about some of the things we've done in the past. For example, Faculty Safe is the group that created the sort of bathroom posters that we put up all over campus, encouraging people to respect people's choices of what bathroom they want to use. It has, you know, various statements on different issues that you might want to put on your syllabus, you know, things dealing with Title IX and other things as well. There's a way to contact us, of course. We do meet fairly regularly. In fact, we have a meeting this Friday where we go over, you know, actions we're taking in order to support students. We're trying to change some of the policies at UNM, for example. One big thing is we're, you know, working to change the mandatory reporting requirement and make it more a mandatory supporting requirement, meaning that you don't automatically have to, you know, officially report anything a student tells you, but rather you need to give them the options that they have and let them choose how they want to go forward. And there's also this issue, I mean, Angela mentioned briefly about advocates and advisors. Students that go into a hearing can have an advocate and must have an advisor. They cannot speak for themselves. I mean, they can answer questions, but they have to have an advisor to sort of serve as an attorney, to ask questions, to do the cross-examination. And currently, we don't have the means to provide students with that type of support. So that's another thing that we're working on.
Okay. Well, thank you all for this information. I'm going to share, this will be a crude share, but let's stop share there. And then I'm going to see if I can share back. I think you should be able to see that, the link here, for those of you who might have missed that. All right, and we'll make sure that we send this around with other materials that we might send out. But again, thank you, Steve, and also for volunteering to step in and do this. Much better update, obviously, than I would have been able to give. And thank you to Liz for the hard work you're doing, and Angela for the work that you're doing to make our campus safer. Colleagues, our agenda is exhausted, and we are adjourned. See everyone next month. If you have anything for me, if you have questions for me, please get with Rick if you need an appointment with me for anything, especially any new faculty senators who want to talk about you know, expectations, onboarding, what have you. Please reach out to Rick and put time on the calendar. Peace.